Very good morning to you. Welcome to the programme. We start with breaking news. In just the last few moments, President Trump has launched an attack on the UK over the decision to hand the Chagos Islands to Mauritius. In a post just moments ago on Truth Social, the President called the decision an act of great stupidity.
Now, we should just pause and take a look at the whole statement, because this is pretty astonishing stuff, I have to say. He says, shockingly, our brilliant, in quotes, NATO ally, the United Kingdom, is currently planning to give away the island of Diego Garcia, the site of a vital US military base, to Mauritius, and to do so in capitals for no reason whatsoever. There's no doubt that China and Russia have noticed this act of total weakness.
These are international powers who only recognise strength, which is why the United States of America, under my leadership, is now, after only 1 year, respected like never before. The UK giving away extremely important land is an act of great stupidity, capitalised, and is another in a very long line of national security reasons why Greenland has to be acquired.
He goes on to say, Denmark and its European allies have to do the right thing. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And then he signs it off, President Donald J. Trump.
Well, let's bring in Mark Stone, who's able to join us on this. Mark, thanks so much for joining us at 2 a.m. there. I mean, this was as pointed as you could get from the US president to the UK, 24 hours or 20 hours after Keir Starmer ultimately tried to strike a conciliatory tone.
Yeah, and many months after the British thought that this issue was done and dusted. I mean, Diego Garcia is part of the Chagos Islands, and mid-year last year, the United Kingdom made a controversial decision, but a decision nonetheless, to hand sovereignty of the Chagos Islands back to Mauritius, and that, of course, included Diego Garcia. Now, the reason that the president the reason that America in general over the past year has been exercised about this is because Diego Garcia is a very important, strategically important military base for the United States, as it is for the United Kingdom. But as part of the deal to hand sovereignty back to Mauritius, a 99-year lease was put in place for Diego Garcia precisely so that the Americans and the British would be able still to operate there and effectively to run it for themselves. So that's the first point. But the second point is all this was done and dusted. And mid-year last year, I think it was May last year, it was something the Americans were really worried, the Brits were really worried about. Would the Americans have a problem with the whole issue of Diego Garcia and the Chagos? And mid-year last year, Trump was president, there was no problem. And yet suddenly, and look, the way you read that, and I'm only just reading it now as we speak as well, the sort of vibe and the tone of Trump's statement, which was, 15 minutes ago he released this, almost is as if he's only just discovered that this is happening. It's extraordinary. But look, Sophie Wilf, the broader point is that, I was saying a day ago that it feels as though the wheels are truly coming off the Transatlantic alliance, whether that be with the UK or with the European Union. But for the UK, the special relationship, I mean, it's in a really bad way right now. And remember that Keir Starmer, he's worked so hard and has had some success, no question, trying to be the Trump whisperer, trying to be the guy who is able to be almost the bridge from Europe to America under Trump, to try and work out what on earth is going on. Right now, that feels like a very tricky place that Keir Starmer is in.
Mark, as to the timing of this, as you said, with particularly the fact that Chagos was sort of done and dusted ages ago, he's linked it to Greenland in his post. He's about to go to Davos, where he'll meet European leaders, interestingly not Keir Starmer. We know he's a big negotiator, but and laying the groundwork for what he might say there. But it's pretty clear in recent days he is not backing down on Greenland.
He's not. I mean, I was in the studio with you. It was exactly a week ago, I think, just over a week ago, and you asked me that same question. Is he serious? And I said, yes, he is. Look, he is absolutely serious about his desire to own Greenland, for Greenland to be part of America, and that's the tricky thing. Look, I was talking to Danish diplomats here in Washington late last week, and while they were somewhat encouraged by the meeting that they had with J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio, in that things didn't spiral further, it was still clear to them. And actually, it's worth pointing out that JD Vance was the person in the meeting with the Danish Foreign Minister last week who talked about or raised the idea of finding some common ground. So that was encouraging from the Danes. But what they also recognised from that meeting is that Trump has a particular position, and that is to own Greenland. So they agreed to disagree, but at that point last week, they expected that, maybe there would be room for negotiation and some middle ground could be found. I think those underneath Trump, some underneath Trump, maybe not Marco Rubio, maybe not JD Vance, but some underneath Trump do believe that this Greenland thing is a distraction, that it should go away, and then maybe it will go back into the long grass. But, from everything that Donald Trump himself has said over the past 48, 72 hours, it seems absolutely clear this is the thing he really, really wants at the moment, trying to find some compromise, trying to find some off-ramp to allow Donald Trump to feel like he's won, that he's got something. I think he's going to be really, really important in Davos at those meetings. And the Danes have been so clear, and the Europeans more broadly, you could basically do what you want in Greenland, Mr. Trump, is what they're saying. You can build more military bases. You can call them Fort Trump. You can build Trump Towers in Greenland. You could do what you want, except you can't have Greenland for yourself, because it is a people, it is a culture, it is a country, and you can't just take another country. That's their view. And of course, more broadly, what they would say is that peace through strength is all very well, but strength together. The whole point of NATO, so argues Europe, is to collectively protect against any aggression from anywhere else. And Trump, of course, seems to think he can do it on his own.
Mark, thank you very much indeed for that analysis. Mark Stone there from Washington.